Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt man!
All right! Episode 175 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Troy from the Silk Screen Machine in Colorado. Let's go!
Hey there, you sexy son of a bitch.
Dude.
It's one of them days, huh?
Check.
Hey, I can tell by your demeanor that shit's fucked.
No, it's okay, man. It's okay. But you look
that's what we all
fabulous.
say.
You look
Thanks.
fabulous.
Thanks.
How do you do it?
Like this? Growing my hair out a little bit?
Oh, are the sides shorter than the top?
Yeah. It's because I wear a hat.
Ooh. Oh, you mean it's just like pushing it down?
No, I like it shorter on the side so I don't have that like poof.
Oh,
You know, like wing poof.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever not wear the hat? Because there's only been one time that I can think of, and that was when the lady made you take the hat off.
And I was really uncomfortable. Sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get
Basically
it.
during a shower,
Oh, true. Yeah. I mean,
maybe during intercourse. It depends on the day.
yeah.
If I want a little hair pull or not.
Oh, I see where you're going with that. Yeah. Well, you look good in it. I mean, I don't blame you, and keeps the sun out of your eyes.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's my safety blanket.
I saw you got a last mow in yesterday.
I did. It was glorious. Yeah, I left work at 5 and I knew I had to hurry up because I had to go get the mower, put it on the trailer, take it up there, and it takes 2 hours to mow the property. So, and it gets dark around 7. So yeah, right around 6:45, 7 o'clock, it started to get dark, and I was like, well, I'm going to finish this. So I mowed it with the headlights on.
I was going to say, doesn't that bad boy have a light? You know?
Yeah, it has headlights.
So there you go.
Yeah, it's good. It's totally fine.
All right.
Last one of the year, probably. How's it going there? You're trying to avoid it.
Oh, it's fine here. You know, it's, I was going to say this for later, but it was one of those, do you ever have somebody that, you run their invoices and then time goes by and then they say, oh, hey, I have a resale, tax certificate. Can I get that money back? And then you've got to deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I always have the opposite where I charge them tax and then they say, I want a refund.
No, that's what I meant.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the problem is like you've sent that to the state already because it happened last month or whatever. And then you've got to explain to them, oh, I need it's already gone, but I guess we could credit you. And then your accountant works through it with you. And it's and there's actually 10 invoices in this one.
I just always say I'm going to refund it and I just never do. Like, yeah, expect it in a couple weeks. And then
I like that policy. I need to do more of that. When somebody says, it's sort of like, I don't know. I saw this meme or this reel where they were like, this guy was smoking. They're like, hey, you can't smoke in here. And he's like, oh yeah, cool. And he puts it out. But then like 2 minutes later, he's smoking again. And they're like, hey, I told you, I thought, you're not supposed to be smoking here. He goes, oh, is that what it was? You pretend you don't know what they mean.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, you could, when that person emails you again and said, hey, I thought you said you were going to give me a refund. You're like, I
thought I did. Let me double check again. Yeah, I mean, even if I do it now, it's going to take me another 2 weeks or so to clear. So,
and then you still don't.
Then you just never do it again. I don't do that, by the way. I don't want to sound like an asshole. Like,
no, I mean, that's not an asshole move. I think it's like good. It's a smart move, you know, because you just play like you don't know. And
dude, we had a customer yesterday that I don't know how much I want to talk about it or not, but I don't care. It was a contract thing. It was like a local person, and we don't really do a lot of this, but the local person, we're like, all right, yeah, whatever, we'll help them out. And they sent us this order for this like motorcycle club, and it was like red shirts, and they wanted red ink and like black ink and like orange and white and whatever. It made up this whole thing, but they got it on multiple color shirts. So anyway, we printed the job. One shirt got messed up. I don't know what happened. Something got messed up on it or whatever. And normally we call the customer and say, hey, one shirt got messed up, and it was like a 4-color front, 4-color back or something. And normally we'd be like, all right, cool. We'll just refund you for that one shirt. And she was like, no, I need that one shirt. And I'm just like, yeah, well, we're just going to credit you. And she's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I need that one shirt. I was just like, dude. So I told them, I'm like, whatever, we'll just fucking reprint this one shirt. And then we didn't do it yet. And then she's also like, I need back the messed up shirt. I'm like,
she provided the shirt, you mean?
She provided the shirts. Yeah, this one was like messed up. But what happened was, is if we mess up a shirt, usually it goes in the test bin. Yeah. And then they test print all over it, whatever. She's like, I don't care if it has any other prints on it. I just need that shirt back. And I was like, okay. So like red flag number one, I'm like, all right, she needs the shirt back. So we get her the shirt back, and then we finish the whole order. She comes, picks it up, doesn't really say much, takes it back to her place, calls us, and is like, I don't like the red. It doesn't look red enough. I'm like, this is literally bucket red. Like if I buy a 5-gallon pail of red, it's fucking like, I was like, we can't make this any more red. Like this is straight the red. Yeah. This is what it is. And it was just like, I was just like, I told Sarah, we're done. Just whatever we got to do to get to appease this order and get it out of here. It was just one of those days yesterday where I was just like, what
is she okay with the red, or are you going to replace it?
I don't know. Cause the words that I said that I told Sarah to tell her probably would get me canceled. So I don't know exactly what Sarah said. I said, doctor it up a little bit from what I said, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
It's good that we have those buffers that we can say, hey, reply back and say this, and they know not to say that. It's nice.
Yeah.
But it feels good. You get it, you vent a little, you get it out of your system, and then they have a better reply. I saw did you put that on our story, the inversion table where they
flipping back? That's exactly what I did. Someone sent that to us in our DMs, and I was like, yeah, dude, that's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Crushed my body on my head.
Well, we've gotten really good at it. So I know how to, it is like the fulcrum, just like you said. Yeah. And so
you just have to calibrate it for your body.
Yeah. Once you've got that, then you really only have to move your arms, and it'll like just the movement of an arm towards your head or towards your feet will move you where you need to be.
Yeah.
But if you're just a first timer, and especially if
you're going on someone's settings that's like 120 pounds soaking wet, and they're like maybe 4.5 feet tall, and then fucking old giant grizzly bear gets on it.
Yeah, it's more about the height, I think, because you got to balance it.
So all of my weight went backwards and flipped me upside down.
So breaking news. It won't be breaking when this comes out, but Grimco bought another company.
I saw that in our chat.
They're making moves.
It was going wild, and I didn't have a chance to read it yet.
Yeah, making big moves.
People writing paragraphs.
Yeah, I saw that. And it feel like it's, Grimco is more sign-based company. I think 90% of their business, maybe more, is sign, and so is.
Yeah, but they're trying to buy into screen printing, right? That's what all this stuff is.
I don't know. Or is screen printing just along for the ride? I'm not really sure. We'll see, but
let's get Grimco on and we'll talk to them about it.
Let's talk to them. Let's see why they're doing what they're doing,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What else we've got? It's fleece season. And you do want to talk about it. Are we getting out? Are we like airing all of our pain? Is that what we're doing?
I'm fucking down, dude. You want to do that? You need to be dedicated if that's what we're doing, because I have a lot
of tears will be shed.
I will cry my ass off right now.
Should we save it for later? Because there's a lot. Here, let's move that down. Did you take your vitamins today?
They're actually in my pocket.
In your pocket?
I forgot to take them.
In a baggie in your pocket, or just hanging out in your? No, they're not.
Yeah, they
Tater
are.
tot?
Yeah. You don't put tots in your pocket? Look, with my keys.
That's pretty gross.
Why is it gross?
I don't think that's the right way to do it. Okay, well, pop them. What are they?
I didn't want to not take them with foods, so I was going to have them
Right.
with breakfast, and
That's
I forgot
smart.
to take them with breakfast, and
But here I am
now they're
reminding
still
you.
loosely in my pocket.
Yeah, so
You want me to take them right now on the show? You want me to take all these
Probably
drugs?
Probably should.
I got what do I got here? Vitamin C. I got magnesium, and I got a what's it called?
Viagra.
Yeah, Viagra. I want to get super hard on the show right now. You ever just take one for fun?
No.
What's wrong with you?
How do you get them?
From people, friends, my dad.
Just downtown somewhere?
Yeah, you ever got gas station boner pills before?
Yeah, all the
Fucking live a
time.
little, dude.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I added to the vitamin mix? CoQ10.
What's that?
Fuck, I don't know. Like I have no idea.
I don't fucking know.
Like I have no clue, but I was
My nipple rubbed off last night. I don't know what I took.
So I'm trying to regenerate a nerve.
Why'd you touch your butt when you said that?
And that's where the nerve is that needs to be
lost
regenerated.
All feeling back there, huh? A lot of wear and tear.
Yeah. And so I read or watched a YouTube video, I think, like the vitamins or supplements or whatever you need, nutrients you need to regenerate, to optimize nerve regeneration. And they said CoQ10. I almost said 12. CoQ10.
Don't take 12, dude. 12 will fuck you up.
Yeah, that's the 12 is what you get at the gas station. You don't want that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You want the stuff. I actually bought this
you got to take it with a 2-liter Mountain Dew.
Guess where I bought my CoQ10? Just guess. You're gonna get it.
Costco.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and you got a gallon jug of it.
Yeah, I got a
9,000 pills.
Lifetime supply, and they and it was like it was like $30.
It comes pushed in a hot dog like a fucking dog treat.
It kind of looks like a hot dog. Look at this. Like it actually
the pill looks like a hot dog.
It does. Check this out.
It's got a little bun.
Here's my handy. Here's what you need. You know, I have the loose in your pocket bullshit. I'm sending you. I should have sent you one of these for
I don't.
In your boo basket.
I want it loose in my pocket because then once in a while you get that little surprise lint ball and you just I got a little extra treat.
No. So look at this.
That's an almond. That looks like a Matrix red pill.
That's CoQ10.
What was I can't remember. What was the blue one? What was the red one? Was the blue one the Matrix?
I don't remember either. It's been a long time.
Frank.
It all starts with the screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF.
Rank.com.
Or
greatfuckingscreens.com. The best fucking screens, the only fucking screens.
The only
fucking around and get the get the screens, okay?
The only screens you should buy. That's for sure. And speaking of which, we need to send him a pallet. Where are you at with that?
I have a full pallet ready to go, but they told me not to reorder because we have too many screens right now.
Funny, we had so we used to keep screens. We used to inventory screens for a customer like that would reorder a lot, and we don't do it as much anymore. And so we're like, hey, we have too many screens. And so. Yeah.
It's just my mom.
Oh, tell her hello from me.
Mm-hmm.
She gonna jump on
who made me
the pod for a minute?
No, she'll curse. She'll say things that'll get us canceled.
Is she bringing you another dirt cake?
No, she's folding and bagging t-shirts today.
Ooh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
muscle relaxers? I don't. Mom wants muscle relaxers.
You've got to have that within your pocket.
I probably have some in my pocket. Yeah, my right pocket. Those are for later.
Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest way.
For sure.
Period.
Exclamation.
Mm-hmm.
If you or your art department can use some love, then you need to go to 1-900-HotStuff.com and get in touch with Nick or Lucas at GraphXsource and let them run your art department so you can focus on running your
Mouth.
I'll give you one more chance. So you can focus on running your
Dick in the dirt.
choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromaline. Go to chromaline.com to watch Kev's vids or contact him on the IG at the Emulsion Guru and get the answers you need.
Yes.
If you're not using DTF or screen print transfers in your shop, then you are doing it wrong. We have partnered with Howard Custom Transfers to get you the transfer you need fast. Check them out at howardct.com. And guess what? Our neighbor, one of our neighbors owns a boutique. Did I tell you this story?
Nope.
No? Owns a boutique, two of them actually, in St. Louis. And we were on a walk and saw her, started chatting, and she's like, hey, I have all these extra sweatshirts and I want to put a graphic on them and I want to do it on demand at my store. And so do you have any, she knows that, like I have a shop, and so she's like, hey, you have any recommendations? So I sent her what she should buy, heat press wise, and then also connected her with Candy, and like Candy took care of her.
Oh yeah, she did. No
you know
doubt.
what I'm saying?
She's the best.
Yeah. So.
What we got today, bud?
All right, Lil D. We have got Troy from Silkscreen Machine, and they are located wherever you want them to be. Get it? You know why?
It's a hell of a, because they travel.
Exactly.
Has Squeegee will travel?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. What's up, dude? How
Hello,
are you?
gentlemen. Good. How are you?
Look at you in this fucking recording studio.
No. Knock off. Knock off. Let's call it what it is. Hobbyist at best.
Yeah, but that's still, people make music on their laptops now.
Dude, I know. It's insane. The tools are just getting better and better as we speak. It's amazing.
Can make a whole crazy studio album that millions of people buy copies of, and you can make it in your bedroom.
Yeah, I know. Look at freaking, there's like 10 artists out there that did that.
It's crazy.
Like, where were you when this beautiful song hit the airwaves, or when it came to you? And they're like, in my mom's basement.
Exactly. What's going on with you, man? How's life? How's business?
It's fantastic, man. It's always a work in progress, just always growing and evolving and doing weird shit that I can take credit for a little bit of, but a lot of it's just luck and being in the right place at the right time.
You know how much, you said luck a second ago, and it is so true, not just in business, but in life, and I've noticed it recently because I had a procedure done, and you know what is, it's really given me some perspective. And so I went in and I had this thing done and it didn't go right. And I thought to myself, like, hey, you can be like the nicest guy. You can be, you can care for your family. You can care about other people.
Yeah, but
none of that matters. None of that matters.
Those things, though.
Well, you can be like a dickhead, and you can have horrible intentions.
Right.
Yeah.
But none of that matters. It doesn't, because it comes down to sometimes just luck. Like it didn't work out, and so it's just so weird how that is. And luck plays into so many things, including our business. You're right.
Well, they say that, luck is like the intersection, the cross streets of preparedness and what's the
opportunity
out there? Opportunity meets preparedness. Yeah. And I firmly believe that. And I've definitely witnessed it in our business and just in life in general. But yeah, a lot of times what we're hoping for, what we're wishing for probably may not be in our best interest, but holy shit, luck definitely plays a part.
Yeah.
And drive and stubbornness and getting your ass whooped. You guys ever had your ass just whooped and you keep going back to it, and then finally something?
Yeah, but what's your safe
flicker
word?
of hope? Good call. Squeegee.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What was it? Your safe word should be meatloaf, because I'll do anything, but I won't do that.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So you kind of have an interesting story, because me following you, I've always seen like the trucks and the live print stuff, but tell us how your whole story, and like, you have a shop, you travel all over the place. Do you just do the trucks? What do you do?
So it all started glimmering in my daddy's eye in 1972. No, honestly, so I come from kind of more of a tech background, kind of corporate, which, didn't suit me. And I honestly think it doesn't suit most people that are in it. But I was beat, man. They wouldn't let me be who I am. They wouldn't let me be creative. I was a senior IT business analyst for an insurance company. And I won't give you the name, but they are not on your side. And so I essentially decided that I needed to do something for myself, and talked to my dad, and he's like, hey, you know what? Find out what you want to do. Two of my dad's biggest pieces of advice is find out what you want to do, create the path, the steps to get there, and then just do it. So with that kind of spirit in mind, I scoured the web for screen printing equipment. And I really wanted to be in an industry where there's little buy-in and there's huge markup.
Right.
And retail.
But why screen printing then? Were you interested in it at all before, or you just thought it was something you would like?
When I was in high school, I was huge in any art classes I was taking. Every single one that I could get my hands on: photography, drawing, sketching, you name it. And one of the classes that was offered was screen printing. And that's back when capillary films were emulsion, essentially.
Right.
And so I got into it then and learned about it and learned some technique, and, did some things for friends and bands. And, but so that's how I got my taste for it. And I always loved the actual act. I just hated dealing with the capillary film. So I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. And then when I found out about emulsion and how much easier things were, I was like, you know what, I could do this. And I literally retaught myself everything and learned about equipment,
You did that like as a hobby in your house or garage or something like that?
No, there was one day where I just walked out of my career and said, I'm not going back. And I didn't. And I walked out and I said, I'm going to figure out a new path in life, because this shit's not for me. And I just I found some equipment, got a loan from my dad for $1,000, went and bought an M&R dryer and an old school Riley Hopkins press, just a beast of a machine, manual, and had no idea what I was doing, and just started from there. And I literally started going through everything online. And that was back in about 2006, 2007. And I just made a run for it. I said, screw it, I'm going to see what I can do. So I put my name out there and started printing for different, my friends' bands and restaurants and you name it, businesses, small businesses, whatever. Because of my tech background, I was already like building websites for companies, and that was fun for me. And I was already into the graphics. I was what's called a fluff guy in the web design world, because I didn't know a whole lot about the back end and how, like, coding and things, which I eventually started learning and teaching myself. But for the most part, I went all in on screen printing. And big shout out to all the people that kept me in business. And just, it was hard for years, just making ends meet and paying rent. But I was dedicated, and I wasn't going to give up. So, yeah.
It's funny you said like the website thing too, because I feel like back when I started, that was like super important. I don't feel like it's as important nowadays, or maybe I'm just ignorant to it, but like, I feel like 10 years ago, I had to have the best website out of anybody I knew in order to like bring customers in. But I feel like nowadays it's not as much in our industry. When was the last time you updated your website, Andy?
Besides,
Like I feel like it's I feel like it's the same shit all the time now.
yeah, I think maybe just the color. We changed the theme, like the color. That's it. But you're right. For us anyway, we do get a lot of contacts. I don't think it starts from a website search necessarily. I think maybe you're on Instagram or wherever you are, and you're like, oh, I'm going to check these guys out, and then you end up at our website, and then go through that online quote. But you and I, our businesses, we don't depend on like a website like a lot of companies do. We don't really sell. Like you can't buy 80 shirts and then put it in a cart, on our website and make a purchase or anything like that. So I wish you could, in a way, because that would be pretty dope. It's just crazy complicated. We're not.
Right. I mean, there's
customizing.
There's certain places that do like custom ink and stuff. Like that's their bread and butter, is people going online and doing the whole thing, or like Sticker Mule or whatever, where it's like the best website as far as ordering, in my opinion, I've ever seen. But back to my point was like that you knew that coming in, so you probably had a pretty cool website out of the gate.
Yeah, trial and error. I mean, I prided myself on the website, and I would update it probably 2 to 3 times a year with a whole new aesthetic. But that was also me doing research, really. Right. And I mean, come on, let's be honest, man. I think, one of my favorite books is by the guy that owns Patagonia, and he talks about being a reluctant businessman. He didn't set out to get into business. He set out to make better climbing gear for his favorite hobby,
I feel like that's 99% of screen printers.
Right. And so I'm so glad you're bringing this up, because this is a huge topic for me. Is I would say the majority of the industry, I know some really dope ass screen printers. I know some phenomenal screen printers. Memo in LA is fucking rad. He's one of my boys, and he's probably one of my favorite screen printers to watch. The technical ability that he has. And, I say that loosely. I don't want to judge this statement based on him, but in business, a lot of screen printers aren't business people. They're just not cut out for business. And vice versa. A lot of business people aren't screen printers, but they think they can make money and hustle in that industry. And I've seen both fail, and I have seen very few be very successful at both. And so I think that's where it kind of sets my skill set. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I think this is just me naturally. I'm a very inquisitive person, and I like to learn a little about a lot. And so I already had like this corporate kind of hard skills, right? About landing clients and talking to clients and understanding what the client needs are, and really like nailing that part of it. So that was just a bonus when I started screen printing, because I already had those hard skills in place. So it was hugely benefited like my trajectory, So going back to the loan that I got from my dad, he loaned me $1,000, and this is crazy, but it's kind of shameful, but I'm going to still say it. No one's perfect, right? So I got this loan, and I started making money, and years went by, and he never said anything about it. And probably probably 5 years, 6 years later, when I actually started seeing some success and like started seeing money sit around in my account in the business, is when I paid him back. And it was just one of those days where it just felt so good to be like, hey, I know I'm a shithead for not paying you back sooner, but thanks a lot. And I gave him, we had a no interest policy, but I gave him interest on top of it and took him out to lunch. And it was a big day for me, because it was like, hey, part of being a great business is doing what you say you're going to do, and committing to committing to things, just being accountable, doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. So that was a huge lesson in the business is, hey, pay the people that are helping you out, pay them first, get those things out of the way. So yeah, that was a pivotal moment in my business, I would say.
It's awesome.
Do you think that you can be, I don't want to say bad at business, but maybe one of the key qualities having like a successful business is the ability to add to your team where you aren't very good, you know? And so I think that, and also get professional services to fill in some of those blanks too. Like get a good accountant, you know, get a good attorney, get a good banker, and all those sort of things. And then the same thing within your business. Let's say you're not very good at the production side. Well, find somebody who is. Or let's say you're really great at production, but you're not very good at running front end stuff or marketing or management. Well, get somebody that is. And I think maybe the whole key is to having a successful shop is to find people that are just plug in people who are really great at those things that you aren't, you know, because how can you be good at all of this stuff, you know?
Right. No, it's impossible. And I will say that it took me a while to learn this, but yeah, I've read countless books by, you know, entrepreneurs and people who've made financial mega successes or whatever. And one of the biggest things that everyone says is never be the smartest guy in the room. Always hang out with people that are smarter in their field than you are. And like you say, build a team, man. Surround yourself with people that are smarter and more knowledgeable than you in their field, and build that team. Because I mean, I couldn't do this alone, and I have a phenomenal team around me that covers our ass and takes care of business and does what they say they're going to do and knows way more than me to get us where we're at. I wouldn't be here today without one of the godsends that kind of fell in my lap is a CPA that would just, she's actually a tax accountant and she knows her shit, and she was phenomenal. She guided me through the process. You know, she goes, hey, you worry about making the money and I'll teach you what you need to do with it once you make it. And that was probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And it changed the course of our business for sure. Yeah.
I think the hard part is it's like the catch-22 of it is, though, like I talk to shops here and there, smaller shops or whatever. And usually it's, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm doing this, but it comes down to like that point in business where you still feel like you have to be in charge of everything. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I have to oversee this. I have to micromanage this. I have to, you know what I mean? They just don't, me for sure. They just don't let go of something to where, like you said, like you don't be the smartest guy in the room. There's people who are better suited for that task than you. You just need to trust them that they're going to do. They might not do it the exact same way as you, but they're still going to do it great, or they might do it better than you. And that's the point where I got at it like years ago with certain things where I was just like, you know what? I suck at this part of the business. I suck at the money part. I suck at getting back to people. I suck at this, whatever. And then I just started hiring people for those things. And then I was like, oh my God, like I actually have so much more time to do what I'm actually really good at. But the catch-22 of that is that if you let go too much, then you don't know anything about that task that they're doing or that part of the business or whatever. And then that person kind of has something over you where it's like, well, you can't fire me. Like I know this.
I'm a control freak, bro. So this is, you're like, definitely it's hard. It's so hard to let go. One of the hardest things for us right now where we're at, one of my biggest struggles personally outside of the business, inside, but I mean, when we have like coast to coast, like in a couple of weeks, we've got just events everywhere, all over the country, all at once. And they're multiple day events for huge clients. And I'm not going to lie, bro, I got a lump in my throat. I'm nervous. I know I've got the right people in the right places and positions to pull this off. But that shit it's scary because I am such a control freak that I have to literally divorce myself from that side of me that wants to take control. And I have to go, hey, I've given everyone the tools that they need. And they've got their own skill set that they brought to the table. And then I just have to rely and trust that they're going to execute to the highest ability. And then you just kiss it and blow it into the wind and see how it rolls, you know?
Right. And then you have to pick up the pieces when they messed up. Yeah.
That's the thing is that no matter what, it always rolls back to me. If you're a good CEO or a good leader or you always, no matter what, whether it's great and everything shined, and or whether it was terrible, you ultimately are the one that wears that badge.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, you're the one who decided that that person was the right fit for that role. And so if they don't do a good job, well, then it just comes back to you. Like maybe you chose the wrong person for the role, or maybe you didn't train them enough, or who knows what it is. And so, but the thing is I think that in most instances, people succeed. If you have a person that's willing and able and that cares, most of the time they do a great job. And yeah, sometimes, I mean, they're human beings, they're going to mess up, and just like I mess up, and so it's going to happen. And a lot of the times you can find people, if they mess up, they fix it without even needing your help. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, hey, you did a great job fixing it, and so they, especially after they've goofed a few times, they learn like, hey, I know what, like, for example, I know what Troy would do here in this situation. I'm just going to do it, and so there's only, and most of the time, I have a customer service manager, and if there's something goes wrong here, people go to her. If it's under $1,000, she just does it. You know what I'm saying? Is like, she doesn't even ask my approval. She's like, oh, I need to buy 80 more shirts. Cool. If it's over 1,000, she usually, if I'm not here, she'll text me, or if I am here, she'll message me and say, hey, this is going on. Just want to make you aware. This is I think this is what we should do, and just gets my approval. You know what I mean? Because I want that on the radar. Like if we're fixing a big goof, I want it on the radar. Like, why did this happen exactly? And is it a process? I don't want
to get too into the weeds on that topic, but there's something too where, like, I had a thing yesterday that's very relatable to this topic of just like, yeah, I'm the owner and I'm delegating things to them and they're handling it or whatever. But I feel like to a degree, they handle it only to a certain point, because it's not their money they're playing with. It's not their name on the company. It's whatever. Like, if I was, the perfect example for this, and this isn't what happened yesterday, is when a customer complains about something, or something turnaround wise, like, no questions asked, the people out there they'll just be like, oh, we'll just overnight it. And I'm like, well, you overnight's like $400 to overnight that box to California or whatever it is. My first instinct is to call the customer and be like, hey, I know you said you needed it for tomorrow, but do you actually need it for tomorrow, or do you just like want it early, or what? Because this is a situation we're in. I feel like 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, I just wanted it early. Like, I can get it on Thursday or Friday or whatever. It's not a big deal. But nobody here ever does that. They don't pick up the phone. They just overnight it. They're like, fuck it, overnight it.
Do you think it's best for you not to be involved in that? Because maybe they shouldn't be considering the cost, because maybe they should just overnight it, whatever, no questions asked, and the customer receives it. And
I think what they should do is call the customer and say, hey, this $35 shipment ground UPS is fine, whereas it's a $400 overnight fee.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's things like that where it's not their money they're playing with. You know what I mean? It's like playing with Monopoly money. They're like, oh, it doesn't matter to me. I'll just do this. Or I'll just do whatever. Totally. I feel like to a degree, it comes down to that.
Yeah. I dig your, if it's over $1,000 that, flag it and to run it up the pole. But I love, listening to an employer, listening to a team member for what their needs are, what they want, and then giving them the tools that they're asking for, but then allowing them the autonomy to actually make the play call in the live moment. People always ask me, when I just am out and about and I have like my silkscreen machine shirt on, or someone will read it on a plane when I'm traveling, and they'll be like, hey, what do you do? Or what is that? Or they'll ask, what do you do for a living? And I always respond, I'm a professional solutionist. My job is to provide solutions on all levels, whether it's dealing with my team, whether it's dealing with an employee issue, whether it's I have to find a solution that works best, hopefully for all parties involved, and hopefully always in the business best interest. But, when you kind of embolden your tribe by letting them know, hey, you guys should actually work at your own, decision-making basis, and know that you are a solutionist. So find the best possible solution instead of just pulling the trigger. What if they What if they researched 3 or 4 different shipping options with different companies, got the best one, and then ran it by you? You know, so I love giving people the power to either hang themselves or make the path awesome, you know, and people do that. If you give them the tools, you give them enough rope, they'll either build a walking bridge or they're going to hang themselves. And so hopefully you get to the hanging quicker if that's the route that they're going to go, so that it's not so painful. But I think it also really helps team morale when they know that they have the ability to make some decisions. And, you know,
definitely. I feel like that's a strong thing with a lot of employees, is that you give them, you're like, hey, all you have to say is, yeah, I trust you. Like, I trust you to make this call or whatever.
You know how huge that is, bro? That's so huge. When an employee goes, man, this dude trusts me to make these decisions. That's a huge power. And I don't take that lightly. I think that's really, it's powerful for not only team building and building that relationship with your employee or your team, but yeah, I love that, man. That's just letting them know that their voice is valued and that they are heard and that they have the ability to make choices.
All right. So you're suggesting that I take that ceiling off, you know, like the $1,000, loop me in on $1,000. You're suggesting.
I like that idea, actually. I think that's a great, especially with the newer employer and newer person, you know, and then as your bond develops, your relationship grows and develops, then that cap goes up, you know, hey, $10,000, call me anything up above that. Cause I already know, you know what to do, 10,000 and under, you know, and then you got that tried and true track record. But yeah, that's how you build longevity in relationships is, hey, I'm going to give you more trust and vice versa. You know, it's the same thing. It works the same way.
Yeah.
I think that's accurate.
They didn't give me that at tech in the tech world. They weren't like, hey, what's your opinion? What's your true, honest take on the situation? They'd just be like, they would always slap my wrist because I would take those decisions in my hands and I would answer the calls or make the call or make the play. And then I always got my ass, you know, I was in HR a lot. I'll just put it that way.
Troy, what do you do for like hiring and firing and getting employees to do what you do, like traveling all over and doing all these things? Like, they're not in front of you. They're, you know, they have to be customer facing all the time. Like, do you have a rigorous like hiring thing, or are you just kind of like, this person's cool, they'll probably be good?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have a 3-tier system as far as when it comes to employees or teams. So we have our hardcore, the people that run the shit, the kind of the Wizard of Oz behind the curtains. Those are the employees. And then our second tier is contractors. And then our third tier is brand ambassadors. So, you know, let's say that we're doing a festival and we've got 5 presses and we're just banging them out. Well, clearly you need the management side, the employee. You need the contractor side, which is typically the screen printer, and then brand ambassadors, which actually, you know, they're the people like talking face forward to the guest and taking their orders and handing out the product, the end product.
So for you, are your only employee is the manager, and then the contractors, I'm guessing, are local printers to that area?
That's one of our business models. Yeah. We have a few. Again, I'm hands-on like crazy, man. So there's been times where I'll go set up one event in one part of the country, hop on a plane, and it's not that I can't pay someone to do this. It's that it's what I do. What would I'm not a guy that sits back and just tells people orders. I'm the guy in the trenches. I'm down to screen print. I'm down to run the house. I'm around. I look at it as like, I grew up in a kitchen, right? And you've got so many different moving parts. You got front of house, back of house, you got management, you've got, you know, I look at it like I'll fill in any role possible. But I also think that lets my team know that I'm real. I'm the real deal, man. I'll sit in the trench and hammer out 100 shirts an hour at a fucking huge conference, and we'll get through 10 hours in a day and 1,000 shirts per press, you know. I mean, I'll be there for that. And And I think that's the difference in management styles. I look at it like, hey, I'm not going to ask you to clean the shitter if I'm not willing to do the same thing, you know. But I think that builds loyalty, and I think that builds trust within your teams, you know. So yeah, we've got contractors all over the country, primarily screen printers, and then we've got brand ambassadors all over the country. We've just been doing it so long now that we've got like a really good go-to list. Just about any city that we're in, we can just make a few phone calls and dial up teams. And I love, this is so huge, especially after COVID, is gig workers are just through the roof. People don't want to go in and receive a meager salary for all of their time, you know, and people don't want to work strictly from home or strictly in an office. And so the gig economy has been huge for us. That's worked out in our favor considerably.
Interesting. Can you share a couple of hacks, let's say, for live printing success? I know, Dylan, you do some live printing, but it sounds like, Troy, you do a different sort of live printing, you know, more maybe of, I don't know, do you sell shirts at your booth, or is it like pre-sold? You know what I mean? You go there and whoever's contracted you has already paid you, and you're just printing and handing out shirts for free. I mean, what kind of business model is it? And or do you do both? Like, so what, and what, how do you do it?
You know, I without giving away the keys to the castle, I will say that, you know, the business model has evolved considerably in the past 5 years. COVID really changed things. But yes, to all those questions, we've done it every way possible. So originally, let me talk about the trucks, and then I'm going to get to that point because it totally ties in.
Yeah.
So in 2012, I had this dream. I had already had, you know, about 5 years into the business as Troy's Custom Tees was my original company, just doing things local in Denver and surrounding areas there, and not out of state at all. Or if they were, it was like a buddy lives in Ohio and wants me to ship a box of shirts to him or whatever. So I have this dream that I'm chasing an ice cream truck, and when I get up to it, I asked for a fudgesicle and a rocket pop. And instead of them handing me ice cream, they literally screen printed those designs on T-shirts and handed them to me off the truck. And it blew my mind. The truck was just like this crazy, like alien looking vehicle. B, the prints were sick, and C, I'd never seen anything like it. So when I woke up from this dream, I started Googling like every instance of mobile screen printing and screen printing truck, and it didn't exist. And I do keynotes and I speak sometimes, and I tell people, you know, when you Google something and it doesn't exist, that's the universe nudging you to go build it. And so the very first truck I built in 2012 in Denver, and I had he was an up and coming graffiti artist that was here in Denver from Mexico City. And his name's Impact, by the way. He's sick. You can look up his work, and it's just like, it's like an acid trip gone like surreal. It's like insane. But he painted our first truck, and $700 worth of a paint job. And
that's worth every penny. Yeah.
Oh, it was insane. And, you know, at the time I didn't know like what to offer someone for it. Now I get it, because we wrap trucks and we paint trucks and we do all that in real time. And so I just got the best deal from him. And this truck was like something out of my dream. It had smoke machine. It had like all the bells and whistles and like a La Cucaracha horn. It had like just sirens and like LEDs everywhere. And it was just super cool. And that was the biggest thing that kicked it all off. And so out of that is where the live thing came from. So originally in Denver, what we would do, we linked up with my buddy Brad from Denver Cruiser Rides. And it's a once a week thing that happens throughout the summer where all these bikes meet. They come from bars all over city, and they all meet up at one location, and then they have what's called the Circle of Death, where like 100, 150, 200 riders are just riding at a pace or in a giant circle. And sometimes you'll have crashes and people just like melee and whatever. But anyway, so Brad saw the truck. We would just go out and post up in front of bars with our own designs and just print for anyone that would come up down the street. And that's kind of how we kicked things off. And so when Brad approached me, he's like, dude, this thing is rad. You need to be at the Circle of Death. So there's times that we've been in the middle
in the middle of it.
Death. Yeah. And one of our original videos, one of our original promotional vehicles, we filmed at the Denver Cruiser ride, and there's like a guy blowing fireballs, and it's just a spectacle,
So awesome.
Yeah, so that's really how we started, is like a food truck. Like, hey, we've got our own shirts. We're going to show up to this event, and we're just going to see what we can sell with the cool shirts that we think are fitted for that event or for that, whatever it is. So yeah, and we were doing pretty good. It wasn't great money. It was, we could make some rent, and we'd have beer money, and and I was happy with it at that point.
Were you just doing that on the side from your normal business, or was that taking over to be like, this is what I want to focus on? No,
I had a warehouse, full operational warehouse, in-house printing, contract printing. And then that was just kind of something on the side.
Right.
And so the more we started doing that, the very first time that we got a huge bid, just Charles Schwab found us online, and they were like, hey, we do this annual conference every year. We'd like to have you out. And so we were in the Denver Convention Center, and that was our first contract gig where we actually were paid to show up to perform live screen printing.
Right.
And when that happened, it changed the game, because it showed me what this could be and what it is. And so, that's how we started off, is like hoping to sell, just showing up and hoping to get product in people's hands and walking away with the payday.
And the truck is a draw because it catches your attention, and you see this graffiti, and you have the horn and all the lights, like you said. So do you use that truck in the convention center? Do you drive it in there, or do you set up more of a booth with the same sort of feel?
No, we've done it two ways. We've done it both ways, actually. But yeah, the truck thing just was such a cool thing, because they let us pull it into the actual conference hall, and we were part of the entire activation. We were part of the entire event. So it was just cool. It was like, holy crap, there's my truck. And we had an off-board press. So it was the first time that we not only showcased the onboard truck press, that was built into the frame of the truck, but then the offboard press, which we now call them our pups, or pop-up presses, and we've got them all over the country in various locations. But it was huge to have two presses there, one on the truck, one pup, and we killed it. And it was like, okay, this is what it should be. And what's really funny, I'll just share this real quick, is so growing up, I was into skateboarding. I was huge into it. I was Pro-Am sponsored by Airwalk at one point. I worked in a skateboard shop, and the reason that skateboard shop existed, it was in a mall. And the reason it existed is because the owner actually owned a screen printing company called Hunky Dory. So he opened up this place in the mall, and which turned into half-time. Part of it was a skateboard shop, and part of it was just airbrushing, like, old school, when you go to the mall and you could get like your name on a hat or I'm still in touch with these people, and they're phenomenal. Shout out to Igor's Tees in Denver. He's amazing airbrush artist. But this lady, Amy, who basically runs Hunky Dory, I remember the first time I pulled up in front of her shop and showed her the truck. And she was like, holy shit, dude. She's like, you're going to fucking do things that are so crazy. And I heard her, but I didn't,
Right.
And now I look back and I'm like, wow, like there's times where I'll just send her a text and be like, holy shit, I can't even believe where we're at today. Like she saw it and she was like, this is going to go places. And, that was really cool looking back on it now, reflecting.
What were some of the challenges like with, cause I do live printing, but I really only do it as a side thing for the business. It's honestly more for my employees than it is for me because I mean, I basically just like people come to us and say, oh, we do our beer fest or our event or whatever. And we just have the van and trailer. Like we have 2 setups. We'll go do it. And then I just kind of like whatever profits are from it. Like I let the employees split it. Like I don't like take it to the business. Good of you. Well, I'm just saying like to them, it's an incentive to be like, oh, this is like this cool thing we can do once in a while. And like they get extra money and whatever. For me, it's the marketing of like, we always get people that are at the event that are just like, oh, I need shirts.
Hey, we need here.
They order stuff, totally. Whatever. So I just like doing it as like an extra thing and we like doing it, but I don't see it as like a huge part of the business or anything at all. So like, I think the evolution from that is to what you said is just being like, okay, I'm going to do this on the corporate level or I'm going to like white label it or whatever and have it be like, you are Nike or you are Adidas or whatever at an event printing. What do you run into with stuff like that? Like there's got to be a ton of like logistical nightmares of like getting a press at a place or getting equipment or like shirts at a place. And what happens if they don't show up?
No, he's got pups. He's got puppy dogs all over the country. It sounds
like we got the pups all over, man. I don't know if you can see this, but I've got little.
What is it?
A paw tattooed everywhere. Yeah. These are my last 2 good old pups anyway, I'm a huge dog fan. So the pups just kind of fits right into it, but no, to your point, man, I mean, this is where I was talking about being a professional solutionist and encouraging that same kind of mentality and that's our backbone. We don't say no. We don't give up. We don't go, oh, fuck. Oh, well, the heating unit on the conveyor belt isn't running, but the conveyor is working. So we're dead in the water. We're screwed. Well, we have a flash. So let's pop the top of the heater unit off and just put the flash over it and put some boxes, tape some boxes around there or whatever. We don't say no. We have no quit. It's funny. We try and do work in the community where I've been very fortunate that these opportunities have come our way where we get to work with organizations and 501c3s that are actually making a difference in people's lives. And I'm a huge, huge proponent of mental health. I've gone through struggles, especially in the last few years since COVID. I've had ups and downs like crazy that I've had to really look at and deal with. And so being able to do events on that side of things, more as like volunteer or kind of like philanthropic type adventures, I love. But one of the cool things is like being able to give this kind of stuff, seeing a kid screen print for the first time. And this is a kid that's probably a minority and doesn't have access to a lot of knowledge, a lot of just is growing up in a bad situation. And these kind of events that we do on that level is like when you see a kid screen print and they know they just built their shirt, man, it blows their mind. And we've done it with like STEM events were huge to get our footing. STEM events were huge because we're not only volunteering our time and making money selling shirts as we went, but kids got to get their hands dirty. They got to put ink on their shirt. And you can see a light bulb. You'll see the most bored kid, like, screw this place. I don't want to be a part of it. I'm not. And then they'll print their shirt and they're like, bing. And you see them light up, man. That stuff gets me. It just blows me away. It's like, that little dude, whether they screen print or not, they will remember this for the rest of their lives. And they'll remember like the feeling.
I 100% agree with you. And that's one of the most fun parts of doing live printing for me is someone at the table who's like, they're like in the mood, they're like, yeah, this is awesome or whatever. I'm always like, do you want to print your own? And they're always like, hell yeah.
Totally.
They come back and like, I always just say rule number 1, do not drop the squeegee. Right. And then after that, I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Like bring it down, pull it, like they're showing the whole thing. They load, do the whole thing. And they're always stoked on it. And that's literally my favorite part is just like showing them the process and letting them do it. Cause they're always like so stoked and it's fun to just like talk to them. I kind of hate when we just sit there at a boring event and people come up and they're quiet and they're just like, I'll take number 2. And then they pay and they just like walk away. It's like, no, I want this to be a thing. Like I almost don't even want tables or a tent or anything. I just want to be like in the open of like, hey, come over, like, look, watch this. Let's do this. Like, this is cool. This is a fun
That's
thing.
why it's cool at STEM events. And I recommend that for anyone that wants to get into live screen printing. I recommend a couple of things. One, I love your thought philosophy about, go out to like your friend's bar, your friend's brewery and be like, hey man, what if I set up a table and printed your logo and I'll split the t-shirt cost with you, or I'll split the, whatever we take on the day. Get in that level, and it's great exposure. Like you say, you can start getting those in-house orders. B, you're doing what you want to do, but you're learning. You're actually learning, whoa, that setup sucked. Okay, I'm going to do it different next time. But, it's hilarious. You guys want to make every screen printer that ever hears this, you want to make their butthole cringe right now. At a live event, the freaking worst, man. The worst is when you let go of that screen and if it's super springy and it pops the squeegee and either flops on the floor or pops back on the screen and it's just covered and coated in ink, you're just like, fuck.
That's why I said that's the number 1 thing I tell them is do not drop the squeegee.
Punishing. Yeah. So if we know we're doing that type of setup with like kids, now I found that you can use those, the little ratchet clamps.
Yeah.
And you get the longer ones and you put it up there so they can only go so far because, if you let them do it and you're not holding it, inevitably they always go full throttle all the way up to the screen and they get ink all over the top of the screen. And we know what's the pet peeves. Don't call my ink paint. Don't freaking get ink outside of the frame of the screen and don't drop the squeegee,
Yeah.
So dude, that's funny.
I've had multiple of those things. Like we had somebody, I think it was at a live event where they did that. They basically just didn't know what to do and they froze and I watched them do it. And that's why I say now, like audibly, like don't drop the squeegee, because they had it down, they pulled it all the way forward. And instead of like scooping and like bringing it back or whatever, they just literally looked around, didn't know what to do. And they just set it down in the middle of the screen. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why would that be your number 1 choice? Like that's the dumbest possible thing you could do.
Totally. That's so, that's punishing, bro.
Are they wooden?
I'm glad that you
Yeah. Because I was wondering if they're wooden squeegees, you can maybe put 2 screws or bolts in the ends so that if it does, it would catch on the frame. And then your idea.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
They even have those ones now that are, I think Ryan that sells them, whatever. Like Lee Stewart has that signature one where it has the feet. Yeah. Where it like can't fall all the way down.
Yeah, like little drone feet on the.
We used to use wooden ones, and then I would like polyurethane them so that like we would wipe ink off them so they wouldn't stick so much, and then we just switched to the aluminum ones. So now we can just wipe the ink off really easy.
Yeah, and another pro tip I will give everyone, man, just you go buy that little like hand sanitizer, not hand sanitizer, but the little wipes, the little hand wipes, little baby wipes, man. Yeah. At a live event, those are so great for your last minute cleanups of squeegees.
We use it for everything.
Stuff on the press, stuff on the screen, just little cleanup jobs. They're so great.
One other thing we do too is on the squeegee blade and the handle, we'll take a piece of clear tape, like normal tape you'd use for screens or whatever, and we'll put it up like whatever, a quarter to a half inch past the squeegee edge, and then tape that corner seam so that when you're done, you can just peel the tape off and there's no ink like wedged up in the corners or nooks or anything. It's just easy cleanup at the end of the event. So bring garbage bags.
That's key, man. I'll tell you what, when you start doing just event after event after event, earlier thought that I had, that there's literally times where I'll be in Orlando, set up an event, I'll run one day with it and make sure everyone's got what they need and they're kicking ass. And then I'll fly to across country to LA and set up an event there. And then, there's times where I've literally every single day I'm on a flight to somewhere new to set up or end an event and wrap it. And one of the biggest things that you start getting into is when you're done, you're fucking done. You want to get off that showroom floor as quick as possible. So you try and make your cleanup so those little tips and tricks help so much to just get you in and out, Yeah,
I agree.
That's one of the things that's so great about a mobile truck, though, is that your load in, for example, like, because when we did live printing, that was the hardest part for us anyway, because we would pull up with all of our stuff in a truck, not like yours that we're going to be printing in, but just a truck, and then unload, carry it, far, or maybe inside somewhere, and then make several trips just like that. And then you have to move your car and then go get it at the end of the event. And your
38-point process.
Yeah, it was horrible. Like, it would take forever. With the mobile truck, you're kind of already there. Like, it's just the stuff's there.
That is nice. It's, can you imagine, like, if you were a food truck or a hamburger flipper vendor and like set up the tent, set up the grill, set up the buns, set up the bun station, and then break it all down at the end of the day. People do that. And, it is true. Having it all in one place, you turn that key on and hit the road. It's great. I will tell you the downfall about having trucks across the country is people literally say, they'll be like, oh, well, we're in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and don't you just pull your truck in? I'm like, we don't have trucks close to there. And our trucks are, not all of them are like road ready. Like they're good as a grocery getter and down the block, but they're not making it 4 states over. But people literally think that every event we do, we just like drive our truck around the country and show up and already have all the merch and already have all the screens and it's all on the fly, which is cool. I love that that's a concept that's clearly, as you guys know, that's impossible.
It's like the Wienermobile.
Yeah.
Kind of.
You have multiple trucks around the country, or you just have like the one main one in Denver? Or because I saw you're wrapping them kind of for each event, right? So it looks like it's an activation.
Yeah. So basically we've got we now have 8 trucks around the country. LA, San Diego, Las Vegas, Denver, Nashville, Chicago. And we've got these assets that it's kind of cool because even when I'm not working, like a lot of these cities, I can just fly in and I'm already on wheels. I just Uber over to the truck and I'm off and running. But no, it's great because these trucks, the thing that I did not realize when we first started this is I only focused on the screen printing side of things. I didn't look at all the other add-ons that are possible within the truck realm. So that's where we got into, hey, why aren't we fully advertising? Like, I'll tell you what, the second huge event that we got, the first one was Charles Schwab. Second one that we got was LA Red Bull Music Festival. Red Bull hired us for 30 days in LA, 2 stops a day, 1,000 shirts a day. And we did this all over key points, all over the biggest hot destinations. And we would stop and print and hand out shirts. And we also worked with not only Red Bull, but Snapchat. And right around that time frame, Snapchat was introducing augmented reality filters. And so we worked with them so that we could augment reality, the t-shirts and the truck. So not only did we wrap the truck for added branding, we also made it so that if you downloaded the Snapchat filter, you pointed at the shirts and it was a lowrider with a palm tree and it said LA, Red Bull Music Festival, Los Angeles. And when you scanned it, the palm tree would light on fire and the lowrider would start bouncing and it would play this music. And it's all over our Instagram. If you go back in different stories and reels or whatever, you'll see a lot of this. but dude, that opened up everything. It was like, okay, not only are we're no longer just live screen printing. We are literally like an advertising platform and an advertising agency. So that really opened up things, because then we were able to not only upsell the trucks, but upsell the branding on the trucks, the branding on the pups, the branding signage, all of that became another tool or another revenue stream for the business. So that really that kicked it into high gear, man. And it's been nuts ever since we found out, or that we started implementing those elements.
Now, when you do all that stuff, this is something Christina brought up to us, was I'm guessing some of these people in all these different places decide, hey, why don't I do this? As far as like leaving you and trying to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
How have you dealt with that?
We've had that. I mean, so beyond this company, I own a few other companies, and one of them is a tech company, and it's the world's first smart motorcycle glove. I've got a patent on it. I've got trademarks on it. And one of the things that I learned early on when I got into that is the power of IP. At that time, basically, like, let's say that I wanted to trademark or copyright the trucks. I can, but why? You can go buy a truck right now and throw a press in it and call yourself a live mobile screen printing truck. You know what I mean? So, like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I could set up a burger cart across the street from McDonald's, and nothing's to stop me from doing it, but I'm not going to sell 1 billion burgers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, of course we've had employees and contractors who have learned from us and learned our way of doing things and learned our protocols and how we operate. And then they've tried to go out and do it themselves. And I wish them success. There's plenty of ocean out there, and I'm just a small fish. And so there's plenty of customers, plenty of, I don't feel like anyone's treading on our toes, but yeah, it is. It's a thing, people, again, this takes us back to, well, screen printers aren't all businessmen or business people, because I know some dope ass screen printers that aren't with me anymore, and I wish them the best. And they're trying to do the live thing, but they'll never be what we are, because they're not McDonald's. You know what I mean?
They don't have the sense to do the other things.
Right. And I don't see it as unless they're particularly going after our clients or our book of business that they've been associated with, then I don't really have a problem with any of that. I wish them the best. But it's the stepping on toes that pisses me off. Like, don't start calling my clients. That's just, that's another level of disrespect.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, one other question before we get to over-unders. What are these other businesses? You mentioned this motorcycle glove. What is that?
Yeah. So I own a company called Signalware. And I was in a motorcycle accident, and I was like, damn, there's gotta be a better way to be seen. And so
loud pipes.
They say they save lives, and I had loud pipes that day, and I still got
all my bikes have loud pipes. So
yeah, nice, man. Yeah, so and it's funny because the only bike I have anymore doesn't have loud pipes. It's the only one that I don't have, or that doesn't have loud pipes. Anyway, so so I own that company. It's always going to be on the back burner. It's literally comes down to how much money I wanted to sink into it and not see profit. And when you start a tech operation like that, man, it'll bleed you. It'll drain you. You'll be broke at the end of the day. And, it's also something that's very new, and old school bikers don't give a shit about your tech. They just want 2 handlebars and 2 wheels that roll.
Yeah.
They don't all the bells and whistles and these gloves would also attach to a proprietary mapping app that would provide haptic feedback so that you can be hands heads up and hands free, where it would buzz to tell you when you were supposed to turn. So the more ape shit that the buzz is happening, you know that, and then when it stops, you know you missed your turn. So the learning curve on that side of things, and then dealing with Department of Transportation and jumping through their hoops. So it's still very much alive. It's still very much a breathing, living thing. I've got prototypes and I've got the patents for it, but it's just on the back shelf right now. It's and then I've got other companies and things that so another company is we actually have a company that houses the trucks, and we lease the trucks from that company, from my other company. And that's for several reasons, but we're also starting to build more on the advertising level with bigger clients. And for that reason, I wanted to split the screen printing side of operations from the actual advertising media kind of outdoor space.
More of an agency that's separate from the screen printing.
Totally. So it just made sense to do it that way. And so one feeds the other and vice versa.
Right.
So they're very hand in hand. And then I've got, man, I love business.
You just got your hands
do a
on
lot.
that.
Yeah, I own a ghost brewery in Denver. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Denver or you know anything about it, but Colfax is like the longest commercial street in the world. It runs from the plains all the way to the foothills of the mountains. And so, yeah, it's called Colfax Brewing Company. And I snatched it up because I know someone's going to want it at some point. And yeah, I've got some funny stories there, but I've brewed. And the biggest thing is I know that it's really frowned upon when you start a company and you're only squatting on it. You're not it's not there to make profit. You're just squatting, hoping someone will buy it from you because of the name. So what did I do? I know a guy that prints t-shirts. So I sold a shit ton of Colfax Brewing Company merch to prove that it's a real entity.
Right. And it didn't even brew beer yet? Like,
no,
it was just merch?
No. Yeah, it was just a merch company with the name and a cool, clever logo. I'll send you guys some. I'll send you some. I just did a re-release of the merch, so I'll send you guys. Let me know your sizes in the comments.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, you ready for some over-unders?
Yeah, let's do some. So I have 7 things, and you just let me know if you think they're overrated, underrated, or properly rated. The first is macadamia nuts.
Oh, man. Underrated.
Yeah,
I love macadamia nuts.
I don't know. I do like walnuts, almonds, and cashews, and a peanut.
You got to get you some macadamias.
No plug for Subway, but go check out one of them macadamia nut chocolate chip cookies. It'll blow your mind.
All right. I will.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes I feel like a nut, but sometimes I don't.
I always feel like a nut, but yeah. I get mine at Costco. Number 2, live printing.
Overrated.
Wow.
No, very underrated. I feel
very underrated.
Yeah. I would say very underrated, but I kind of feel like a grandfather in this space. I will straight up say that daily I see new live screen printers popping up, and they're executing well. So I know they're coming for my job.
I'm biased because I'm a printer, but I do feel like if I had a large event and I wasn't in the screen printing space or whatever, I do think it's a really awesome thing to have. Like just having the merchandise be made right there, custom. It's awesome. Like it's something that should be at more events. Really, it should be paid more attention to, and it should be paid better. Well,
I can tell you this: there's probably easily 8 to 10 times a month I have to turn down volleyball championships, high school running track championships that are multi-state. And I've turned them down, but then I go to one of them and I see a company performing and kicking ass and making some money on the spot. So
I think
it's a matter of time.
I think in that instance, if it's a sports thing, like you said, soccer, volleyball, something like that, I think almost a better application would be just transfers, like a DTF or screen print transfers that you can customize and even put like the player's name or number or whatever.
It's funny.
You know what I mean?
It's funny that you say that because we do quite a few of those. Like we do a lot of like swimming events, which is really weird.
I get calls for those. Yeah.
But we make a ton of money at them because all the parents feel like they have to buy their kid something, like they have to buy him a shirt. So we just did one,
the peer pressure effect
2 weeks ago. And it was something like 15 schools for like these swim and dive championships or whatever. And it was all these parents and almost all of them bought something. But like you said, Andy, like they always see the designs and they're like, oh, can I get my kid's name on the back or something? And I've never done it, but like, I always just feel like it's too much to bring or deal with, but it's like, oh, well, why don't I just get like pre-cut like letters and then I'll just heat press their name on the back or whatever. But I don't know. I usually am just like, nope, we just print the fronts. It is what it is. They buy a shirt anyway. So it's like, yeah, I could have the add-on, but I feel like I would be sitting there all day, like placing names.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what you could get for that though. Could you get like $10 for a name? I know that's a lot.
It's definitely, it's an add-on. It's an add-up. So yeah, we do live customization like that, and it's awesome. I mean, it's a totally different experience, but people absolutely love it. Matter of fact, we'll be in Knoxville with Nike this weekend, Nike and Dick's, and we'll be live customizing for all the youth athletes. So not only giving them the option of multicolor heat press kind of patches, stamps from Supercolor, as well as literally like their username or their jersey name or their last name or whatever. And it's huge. It's a great upsell.
Okay.
Also have to be, yeah. I hear you.
All right, next we
What else
have
you got?
balanced breathing.
Balanced breathing.
Balanced breathing. Yeah, I didn't know what
I need
this
to
was.
practice that.
So I went to yoga last week, and the very first thing we did was balance the air inhale with exhale. Because let's say you're stressed, well, it's out of balance. And so how do you balance the time? Let's say you have, actually she put on a
metronome.
Yeah, she did. I couldn't think of the name. So she put it on, like she has an app on her iPhone or whatever she did. And it just counted. And then so I counted my inhales to my exhale and tried to match them. And then after a minute, I got in like this oxygen debt and I had to like take a deep breath in, because it was fucking me up. But eventually I synced it up, and it's pretty cool.
Do you guys know about the box? The box breathing? I think Navy SEALs do this.
I think I've heard of this. Yeah.
It's literally almost the same concept, but you picture the box.
Okay.
Right. Just inhaling and exhaling.
But yeah, it's totally balanced breathing, but and it really actually what it does to me is it helps me sleep. Like I can go to sleep doing that process, focusing on it.
Yeah. That's what she even.
So I'd say underrated.
I feel like I've talked about this. I don't know if I want to get into it too much, but breathing and sleeping are like terrifying to me anymore. I'm not even kidding. Like I have sleep apnea. So I have a machine and I have a full face mask. And ever since I thought it was a great thing, which it is a great thing, because apparently I had apnea and I always tired at work. I always had all these problems. And then I had headaches all the time. Went, did the test, got the apnea machine because they were like, yeah, you're fucked. Like, if you don't do this, you're going to die of a heart attack or something. Like, it's not good for you. Did that, started having the best sleep I've ever had. But the problem is that you have a machine that's trying to help you breathe, but you can hear yourself breathing. Mm-hmm. And once you hear yourself breathing, your body and your mind freak the fuck out. Because you're conscious that, like, if you all day long were in charge of yourself breathing, like in and out, you would lose your mind. You're like, oh, like your body just does it all day long. But when you're trying to relax and sleep and you're like, oh, am I breathing in enough? Am I breathing out? Like you hear it, it like totally gives you a panic attack. So like going to sleep for me is like, well, it used to be worse. It's better now. But the thing is, I just need a ton of noise. Like I have air purifier going on high. I have like a fan app on my phone that I run as well, like next to my head. And it's just, if I have it loud enough, then I can't hear the machine and I can't hear myself breathing and I'll fall asleep. So you just mentioning breathing is just like instantly gives me like anxiety of like,
sorry, dude. But I mean, it, I think it's underrated too. And I'm trying to practice it more and more because just like you said a minute ago, you know, you just breathe involuntarily and you take it for granted. You don't even really concentrate on it. And then when you do, it's interesting. You know, it does, you have the ability to affect and help yourself relax, you know, if you just focus on your breathing. It's pretty neat.
I haven't taken a breath since we've been on this podcast because I've been so nervous. So shit, maybe I should practice this.
All right, next we have soft hand bass / reducer.
Underrated.
We don't actually, we need to carry it more on site because sometimes you get some white or that is just like, you're pushing cement and you're just struggling for a whole event. That's always have under some soft hand base, something to add some additive on hand.
Dylan, you know why
did you add that because we were just talking about what we were talking about yesterday?
I did, yeah. So we were talking about strategy or tactics for printing fleece because now it's all of a sudden fleece season, and you know you're printing it more and more. And as you know, it's harder. It's not like t-shirts, and so there's challenges with printing fleece. And you think you have all of the variables figured out. And we talked about the fact that we think that some of the issues or a lot of those reg issues that come with printing fleece start in the underbase screen. And so why not make it easier with just the ink flow, have it be thinner so that you don't disturb that very top layer of your fleece as much on your peel. And so we've been kind of experimenting with that. And that's how
the thing is like, it's difficult when you've been printing for so long and all this other stuff. And there's just these things that kind of are always in the back of your mind of like, why isn't this working? Like, I know I'm doing everything right. Like, you know, like my off contact is good. I'm using thin thread. I'm using a good ink. I have good squeegee pressure and angle. And I have all this stuff dialed in. But why the fuck is it like every 9th hoodie is out of registration for some reason or whatever? Dude, and it's like, dude, my power is right. And this like, it's frustrating as hell. So yesterday I went into our group chat and I was like, hey, I know this sounds amateur as fuck, but like, what do you guys do for fleece? Like, because I know somebody out there is going to have some weird way they do something that I'm going to have that eureka moment of like, oh, that's the one thing that we don't normally do that might help me solve my problem. Well, basically it's humbling. And it's also like, it's really nice to hear when basically everyone in the chat is like, yeah, we do all the same shit you do. And we have the same problems as you. And it's like, okay, cool. We're at least all on the same page. Like, let's like figure this out. And it's not something where it's like a horrible print, but like, I want to make sure that there are no issues at all. And even though it's a really small issue that the customer probably would never even notice, I notice, and I want to make sure it never happens. So Andy had a good point where, again, I'm just reiterating what he said, was just kind of like, try thinning out the underbase white and then your top white will cover it anyway. But that might be where a lot of your movement is because you're putting more of like a thick layer down on a soft material that might move in that first instance. So we haven't tried it yet, but go ahead. Yeah.
That. No, I like it. I'm going to try it. I will. This is again, like old school, tried and true, man. Someone taught me this and they were in the game for 20 years before when I learned this. But have you guys ever done, and this particularly on light colored inks on dark fabrics or fleece, because fleece can be a pain in the ass, multiple emulsion layers to build up the channel of the actual design. So coat it, let it dry, coat it again, let it dry, coat it again, let it dry. And then when you burn, your exposure time changes slightly. But what you have is like a deep gauge channel. If you looked at it from the side profile, you would see, you could see like a wall layer there. And man, that just really helps for sometimes you can get away with not having to underbase and just do one hit. Just a really good coat.
You're coating the substrate side multiple times, not the ink side.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's a good tip actually for live printing.
Dude, and I'll tell you another thing that I love about live printing that is definitely not overrated is you're usually just printing one design, one color. You're not doing, heavy registration, 6 color. You're not doing, you know what I mean? So I do love it. I do really love live screen printing for that element.
Mm-hmm. That makes me
But
think
we
about
do that. We do that anytime we're doing light ink on dark fabrics. We'll load up that channel, and you just get a better pull every time, and you're getting good distribution.
That's awesome. That's an awesome shop hack for live printing.
Yeah, man. And when you're doing that, instead of using the sharp edge of your scoop coat, flip it around and use the dull edge. It leaves more of a base.
Right.
So that's another really good hack that I use.
Yeah, for sure.
Next. Apples.
Mm-hmm. Apples.
Underrated.
Yeah. I don't eat enough apples. The only reason why I say I wish I ate more apples, but right now is apple season.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for me in New York. And it's like apple
pick
picking on the weekends and pumpkin stuff. And
next time you get a headache, eat an apple instead of taking aspirin. Watch what happens.
Where was I? I was somewhere recently where they were telling me something about sleep or headaches or whatever, and that I should eat a pickle. And I was like, what? And they were like,
maybe
the
it's
pickle
the
juice.
vinegar.
Just like chug the pickle juice or something. And I was like,
electrolytes. Like if I had a heavy session drinking, which I don't drink that much anymore.
Heavy session.
I used to sesh back in the day, and I think they call those benders.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
It sounds way classier than a bender if you say session.
Session. It's more pro. It's more pro level. Anyway, dude, pickle juice. It's amazing. So wake up, have a few shots of pickle juice, and it's the electrolytes. It's the vinegar and the salt content.
So are you saying that a pickleback with Jameson cancels it right out if you chug pickle juice right after?
No, but I am saying if you had a couple of shots of pickle juice to a Bloody Mary, hangover remedy, and then you're drunk again. So whatever.
Okay, cool. I don't even remember what the question was.
Apples.
Yeah, it was apples.
Yeah.
We had
Pork
apples
chops and applesauce.
We had the right now it's Honeycrisp, I guess in Missouri. And so we had some last night, and Joanne actually had some peanut butter with it. So we dipped into that a little bit.
I love that you just said pork chops and applesauce, because my dad used to do that all the time growing up. He would always.
Do you guys know what it's from?
Brady Bunch, maybe? Or something?
Yes.
My dad always did that. Always. He was always just like pork chops and applesauce.
And applesauce. Yeah, that's the way you say it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
Number 6.
What else
we got trusting in your team. I think we have a lot of underrateds today.
I was going to say properly rated. I don't want to say underrated because, I mean, we want to, but when they don't work out, it makes me not so happy.
I would say underrated because honestly, it's a skill set. If you want to be good in life at anything, if you want to excel or be successful at anything, it takes relationships and building and being better at relationships. And it's what I'm learning now. I'm about to turn 51 in a couple of weeks. And I feel like I just got the secret to success. And you know what it is? Be great at relationships. The better you are at relationships, the better everything around you blooms. It's crazy. It's like fertilizer for success. And so on that level, with your teams, with the people that see, anyone that comes to my doors knows right away. I say, do not ever call me boss. I'm no one's boss. That shit, that whole hierarchical system is what they've taught us, right? That's school and the principals and the whatever, the corporate world and the CEOs and the peons and the janitor. It's all helping move the cart. It's all moving the motion. You have to have, I tell everyone, I'm in the trenches with you, man. I'm no one's boss. I'm your team. I'm colleague. So I look at it as we're all a team. But yeah, underrated. Got to have those relationships to make a business successful, and you better get good at it or it's going to suck.
Everybody has to address me as sir. And
bow when they walk in the door.
I might change it to boss.
Sir King.
Yeah.
Sir King,
they have to kiss the
shoot
ring
this thing
before
under $1,000.
Yeah.
Can't turn your back to me. You have to walk out. Like,
Awesome.
last but not least, we have having a routine.
Underrated. I'm a
Underrated.
routine. I know why you put that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm linked to something else.
I'm just a routine guy. I've talked about this. How I like getting in a routine. It makes me feel like I can be creative when I have a routine, which seems like it's not the same. But when I have all the rest of my life dialed in and I'm kind of just doing what I should be doing throughout the day, I have time to work on things that inspire me.
Makes sense. You just like put it on autopilot.
Right. If everything's chaos, then I feel like I'm out of control and I can't I need to just get everything, all the fires put out first, and then I can do some stuff. But if I know waking up, okay, I'm going to drive my kids to school. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to do this. I'm going to sit at my desk. I'm going to do this. Like, I know I have time slots to like be productive. So
I like
underrated.
that. Underrated for sure. I just recently started, being a support human for my dog. And, it's kind of a trade of tasks, but it's working out swimmingly for me, for the dog too. I could tell it's,
how do you support your dog?
Just be there, man. Listen, maybe not talk so much, just listen a little more, pick up on body language, No, yeah, it's underrated for sure.
Okay.
Love. I was getting to the routines. I can't be the support human that I'm supposed to be for my dog if I don't have a routine.
Right. I agree with that. Was that the last one?
Yeah.
Routines knocked it off. Well, Troy, do you have anything you want to add or anything you want to talk about before we go back to our day?
Hey, I want to say, damn, how do I hang out with you guys more? This is fun.
Let's fucking do it, dude.
You guys are awesome. I really love chopping up the whole industry and talking about concepts and talking about business strategies. And so I love it. This has been awesome. I do want to give a big shout out to every single person, past or present, who's helped the Silkscreen Machine and myself get to our goals. We couldn't have done it without you. We love you. No matter what the ending is, you're important and you're fucking valued, and you have contributed hugely to something that is my heart. So I thank each and every one of our teams, our BAs, our contractors, our employees. We couldn't be here without your dedication and your badassness. So that's killer. I also want to give a huge shout out to our connection and our collaboration with Ryanette and Riley Hopkins. Those guys kick ass, and they help us power the print, man. We're out there and doing what we do, and we couldn't do it without some really great equipment. And they put their money where their mouth is, and they've helped us out considerably over the years. And I just love where that partnership has grown to and where it's going. We've got some cool things that I'd love to talk about now, but we will get into that. Let's pin tag this, put it on the wall. I'm just shooting a star.
We'll do a part 2.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Do a follow-up. But yeah, there's some things that I can't talk to right now that I would love to. They're in the works. We've got a lot of cool things coming up with the trucks. And this new company that we just started that actually houses some of our newer vehicles and some of the things that we're doing outside of screen printing, more in the advertising space. But yeah, you guys rock and keep doing what you do, because it's super awesome that there is a platform out there that people can tune into, even as a newbie, man. Can you imagine like getting this sage advice that's coming through your airwaves as a brand new screen printer and having that resource? So you guys are killing it. It's super awesome to be on the show, and
Thanks,
I appreciate it. I appreciate your time for
Thanks,
sure.
dude.
Yeah, we appreciate yours. This was great.
And a huge shout out to my wife, because without her, I'd be in a puddle of booze somewhere on a street corner.
having a
having
session.
Shit show.
Having a session.
Little session, yeah. Little session that turned into 6 years later.
couple extra sessions.
Right. I'm going to need a lot of pickle juice the day after that. So anyway, yeah, you guys are rad. It's super fun, and I really enjoyed this.
Thanks, man. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day and have fun.
Yeah, Troy, thanks for
Thanks,
talking
brothers.
shop. Take care.
Later, man.